everyone. Welcome again to Daily Grace with Pastor James. So glad to see you join me again today on this episode. We just want to pick another word again, a word that we are all familiar with, a word that we hear day in, day out. In fact, there is no day that passes that you don't either hear this word or experience the word. And we're just going to look at it, see the impacts on our life, and of course, how we can manage through this particular word. And that word that we're looking at today is change. Change. We want to see how can we grow through change. The only way anyone can grow is through change. If you are doing the same thing over and over again and you are expecting change, that's the definition of madness. So change, how can we grow through change when it comes into our lives? We have three quotes that I just want to quickly run by you, and then we'll just go through the principles of growing through change. Sian Higgins told us, he said, every day the clock resets, your wins don't matter. Your failures don't matter. Don't stress on what was. Fight for what could be. That's powerful. Our failure does not matter. The only time your failure matters is when you give up. The second quote says, don't let rejection create self-doubt. The founder of Starbucks was turned down by 217 of the 242 investors he initially spoke with. Wow. How many times do we approach investors? So many of us, once we approach even 10 and we get rejected, we just say, look, that's not our calling. That is not what God has called us to do. And we give up. But this guy went on and contacted 242 investors, and 217 turned him down. And the third quote says, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Change starts from you. Change starts from me. Change comes frequently in life. And the only thing that you can predict about the future, the only thing that I can predict about the future is that tomorrow is going to be different. Tomorrow will never be the same. Change is inevitable. Look at the scope and the speed of change that we're experiencing in our lives today, in our environment. It would have been an unimaginable speed by the previous generation. But that is how change works. I want to tell you today that God can use change in your life to make you a better person. But there's no way you can grow without going through pain. Changes most of the time come with pain. There's no way you can grow without pain. So let's just quickly dash into the principles that will make us grow through change. The first thing is look for God in the change. That simply tells us that every single day, your reference point needs to be God. His word says in Jeremiah 29:13, it says, and you will seek me and find me when you search me with all your heart. Even in your worst situation, God is there. In fact, that is even the situation that God used to speak to you. So look for God in your situation. That is the first thing I want you to learn when it comes to change, when it comes to pain. And the second thing is ask God for wisdom. Ask God for wisdom. James 1:5. James 1:5 says, if you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. What a wonderful God we serve. You need wisdom to go through change, to go through your pain, to handle your pain. You just ask God. You just ask God. And the third thing I want you to look at is listen for God's whisper. In that pain, God speaks in a small, still voice. 1 King 19:12-13. It says, after the fire, there was the sound of a genuine whisper. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his cloth and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And a voice said, what are you doing here? See, when you read that very well, before that, heavy sound, noise, everything has happened. But Elijah did not hear God until that small, still voice. The fourth principle is don't ask why. Ask what? Oh God, why is this happening to me? No. What are you using this to teach me, Lord? Philippians 4:12 says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. That's the wonderful apostle telling us that. We go through several situations in our lives, and some of them are really, really painful. Don't ask why. Ask, what are you using this to teach me, Lord? The fifth thing is you need to focus on what never changes. Psalm 33:11 says, the Lord plans stands firm forever. His intentions can never be shaken. The Lord's plan for your life is constant. You are the only one that can derail that plan. But if you work at it, God will surely bring his plan in your life to pass. The sixth thing is don't face it alone. Speak to brethren. Speak to your pastor. Speak to people who can give you a godly advice. You can read on your own. Ecclesiastes 4:9. Speak to people. The seventh thing, become a promise person. Become a promise person. The Lord has several promises in the Bible. Some people say we have over 7,000 promises. So even if you are using one promise per day or two promises per day, you have more than enough. Focus on God's promise for your life and hold on to God's promise. That is the one that will help you. And the eighth thing I want you to do is tell God you will trust him no matter what. No matter what you're going through, trust God. You can read Job 13:15. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Though I am going through pains, unimaginable pain, unbearable pain, I will still hold on to my God. I'll trust him. Will that be your confession? Thank you so much for listening to me. Once again, my name is Pastor James Egodibie. I am the pastor of RCCG Solid Rock Parish, Derby. If you are in and around Derby, you can come and worship with us. Or if you don't have a Bible-believing church, we'll welcome you with an open hand. We are on 55 Woods Lane, DE22 3UD. And if this episode have actually blessed you, please share it with others, because the only time we can make it in life is when we keep changing. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next episode.